ध्यायामि चिन्मयानन्दं गुरुदेवं महामतिं प्रेमपूर्णं क्रियाशीलं सदा लोकहिते रतं कृपालुं सुन्दराकारं समर्थं सत्यदर्शिनं वाचा तत्त्वप्रकाशिन्या शोकमोहविनाशिनम्। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम श्री कृष्ण परमात्मने नमः। Complimenting all of you for being engaged in chanting Bhagavad Gita on a regular periodical basis. Let me share some thoughts on Gita, especially on the second chapter, Sankhya Yoga. Bhagavad Gita is meant for everyone, for the young as well as the old, for depending on what level we are, Gita gives us what we need. At any point of time in life, the verses of Gita can give to us the right direction, can save us from committing big blunders. Bhagavad Gita, in its 18 chapters, is in fact one of the most excellent summaries of all spirituality. While introducing Gita, no less a scholar saint than Adi Shankaracharya himself says, Tadidam Gita Shastram Sarva Vedartha Sara Sangraha Bhutam. All the voluminous Vedas, Sarva Vedartha Sara Sangraha Bhutam Idam Gita Shastram, he writes in his Upodghata. While beginning his Bhashya on Gita, he says this is the very essence put together in the most excellent manner. And then he says very humbly, though it has been explained by many before, since there are certain doubts and confusions in the minds of people, Shankara says, I will write now a commentary. For teachers like me, Bhagavad Gita itself is very inspiring, but Adi Shankaracharya's commentary helps teachers like me to quickly see what a particular line or a word means. All the time we use Shankara's commentary. Coming to Gita, it is actually once more a wonderful outline of really all the four celebrated yogas of Sanatana Dharma. Let me not delay plunging into the second chapter. In the second chapter, 47th verse, there is the very famous expression, very popular, Karmanyevadhikaraste. When Morarji Desai was the Prime Minister of our country, they brought out a postage stamp on Bhagavad Gita, and the line Karmanyevadhikaraste was printed on that postage stamp. Though, I am sorry to say, though this Karmanyevadhikaraste has not been really well understood by a large number of people, if only they get a little guidance at the right time, it is actually such a valuable guidance. All our sorrow is because we all the time look 90% of energy on what we got and 10% energy on what we give. Just to change the ratio. In life, nobody gets everything as she or he wants. All of us, including Swamiji's, get sometimes what is pleasing, some other times what is not pleasing. Right now I am very pleased here, by the way. This session I think I got what is very pleasing. So many of you in the pleasant weather of Bengaluru, say I came from Bombay, in comparison with that, this is air-conditioned weather for me. I came from my ashram where it is so hot. Anyway, so all of us, no matter how privileged we are, no matter what advantages we have been having, life is such. Sometimes we don't get what we wanted, sometimes we get what we wanted. And Sri Krishna reveals a great secret. Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhuhu mate sangostu akarmani. In that verse, he has given us an advice which really we can practice every day. Every time our spouse or our son or our daughter or our neighbor or the boss at work or those who are reporting to us give us certain disturbance, they don't do the way we want. This shloka says, wait a minute, before you sink in despair, remember Krishna's words. Don't depend so much on what we get, what you get. Unfortunate, you didn't get what you desired, but don't depend so much on it. Depend, or rather work on giving more, giving something better from your side. Without going too long on this is the essence of karma yoga, whether it is puja, japa, etc., or work in the world. Technically we call whether it is Vaidika karma or Laukika karma. In all karma, if you are focusing on giving your best and accept success and failure with a certain balanced outlook, then you will be enjoying certain uninterrupted, unobstructed serenity within. You chanted one verse just now in the Sthita Prajna portion, Prasadam Adhigacchati. Prasada is what we call in Kannada and other languages prasannata. When we depend upon what we got and when it doesn't match with, fit into our expectation, prasannata goes out of the window. If we don't depend so much, putting in our best, it's not that we neglect our work, it's not that we become, blind or deaf to what people say. We are aware, we hoped for something but something else happened, but even as we are aware of something unpleasant, if we exercise a little bit of caution, we will not allow that failure or less returns to feel sorrowful. We say, it's okay, next time let's hope for the best. Put in your best again, then you have actually crossed a major milestone in your inner growth. That particular verse, Ragadvesha, without Ragadvesha, if somebody just works, Prasadam Adhigacchati. You will maintain serenity. So without going long on it, this is what John F. Kennedy said in his commencement address, the most famous president. Ask not what the country can give you, ask what you can give to the country. He must have read Gita somewhere, or without it also. After all, sometimes beautiful insights come to everybody anywhere. We Hindus do not claim that everything good is with us only. All over the world, many mystics, many saints, many good people have received wonderful spiritual insights and have shared with their family, their community, and so on. So, Karma Yoga is where we learn to focus on what we can give and, of course, plan for best results, hope for best results, but for some reason, if we don't get the best results, even as we touch the age of 85 or 90, we look back, in my life I never got what I wanted. Don't worry, even at that advanced stage, a long review says to you, you didn't get what you wanted, everybody went ahead, I lagged behind. Come on, the top secret of happiness is that should not matter to you. Really speaking, I will not go much into it. The greatest secret of spirituality, as conveyed by Ramana Maharshi and others, which is very much given by Gita also, is I did not get much in my life, you say. This I itself is not true actually. This I, this ego, this idea, I am a loser. This idea, I am a winner. This is the top secret. There are some secrets in the outer science and inner science. With my physics and science background, I can tell you without making it complicated. You talk about an atom's model, nucleus. What is that? Protons and neutrons are inside. And what are those particles going around? Electrons. In the simple Bohr's model or Rutherford's model of the atom, if you dig a little bit and study, you will find if the size of an atom is 1 unit, 90% or more, 99% of the atom is empty. The electrons are quickly moving in orbits. They are very tiny. The nucleus also is 1% of the size in a typical atom. 99% is empty. But this lamp or this piece of art, this stool, everything, our body, all are made of atoms. But every atom that is part of what we are, what this wall is, what this solid stuff is 99% empty. But because they are in quick motion, there is a sense of solidity. Likewise, this ego of you and me, were constantly our thoughts saying, oh my God, I got insulted, oh my God, I didn't get what I wanted and all that. This I is 99% empty. If you think of any illumined sage, Ramakrishna, Ramana and so many rishis and munis, they were able to see this truth. 1% of mine wins or loses, gains or falls, 99% is unaffected because empty, nothing can happen there. Anyway, coming to the inner science, aham, I, is itself actually not true. But for realizing that, we must begin with karma yoga. Then mischief created by thought is kept to the minimum. If you and I are unhappy in life, the number one reason is our thoughts. Our thoughts are the culprit. Not what happened to us, not what happened around us, but how thought, how thinking interpreted it. Otherwise, something doesn't go as per our wish, our thought can say, oh yeah, what is the next job? Let me take the next job. Anyway, I will not go too much into karma yoga. This Sankhya yoga has karma yoga. There are many verses which represent the wisdom of doing whatever we are doing in the most beneficial way. And the whole idea is, when I say most beneficial way from a spiritual angle, you know what it means? Whatever you do and whatever results come, you remain unaffected. Your peace, your serenity, your calmness, your balance. In 1980, I first attended a Vedanta class in Chennai. I was a student at the IIT there. A friend of mine who eventually spent 40 years as a professor in IISc, Indian Institute of Science here, he lives in Bengaluru. He took me, hey, I think you will love this class. Went to one Swami. And that Swami, in the very first class I attended in 1980, said to us, young boys and girls, he said to us, have you ever opened a jackfruit? I come from coastal Karnataka. Everywhere there is jackfruit these days. But in fact, I come from a family that's name is Halsunadu. Halsu is Halsu is what? Jackfruit. So sometimes my classmates during school, used to make fun of me. Halsinannu, Baili. I had to tell them, I am not Halsinannu. I am from Halsunadu family, that's okay. Anyway, Paramarthananda Swami, that time a brahmachari, asked us, have you ever opened a jackfruit? We said, yes. In our house, as our mothers or sisters used to open, we also would go and we would try to take. The mother or sisters would say, wait, don't touch. If you hurriedly touch it, what happens? The wax, the white wax of the jackfruit goes all over our hand. And if we try to remove it with other hand, it comes to that hand also. Very soon, like Spider-Man's web, so much of wax. So he said, please observe carefully how people open a jackfruit. First they smear oil. Coastal area, we smear coconut oil. On this tengin and a sour kondo. Then, those days they used to sit down and there is one curved, knife, sickle-like thing. And Har Har Mahadev, they cut it. And then like Narasimha opens the body of Hiranyakashipu, they would open the jackfruit. And the magic of everything is, their hands don't get anything sticking to it. Why? They have smeared coconut oil. Giving this example, Swami Paramarthananda said to young boys and girls, on a Sunday morning there used to be a class for young people. We were 23, 24, etc. He said, that oil saves you from getting into a mess. Like that, if you have the right attitude to work, if you have love of God, if you have a little spiritual wisdom, then what otherwise would entangle you cannot bind you. Therefore, in this very second chapter, Krishna says, what is yoga? Yogaha karmasu kaushalam. Yoga is a certain skill while doing karma. Yogaha karmasu kaushalam. And once more, great saints and scholars like Shankaracharya immediately clarify. This kaushala, this skill here is not about how fast you do something, how efficiently you do something, that has its place. But this karmasu kaushalam, the special skill while doing any work, in any relationship, in any transaction, in anything that you and I do during the day. You know what that skill is? The skill is to go with that kind of drishti, that kind of outlook, where the work which otherwise would have caused agitations, the work which would have otherwise have ensnared us, trapped us, cannot do anything to you. You work with certain happiness, and no matter what the result is, you maintain a certain balance. Therefore, in that portion itself, Sri Krishna also gives yet another definition of yoga. Samatvam yoga uchyate. I think 48th sloka. Samatvam yoga uchyate. And then yogaha karmasu kaushalam. He says in 50th, 47th is karmanyevadhikarasti, 48 is samatvam yoga uchyate. Learn to remain balanced. And that doesn't happen by merely willing, I am going to be very balanced tomorrow. That won't take you far. To remain balanced, you should look at your work and the results of work from a different angle of view. The usual angle of view is, what did I get? I did so much for her, she didn't even say thank you, This is what makes me most miserable. We say, wait. Don't analyze what she or he did so much. Yes, it's unfortunate that other person didn't say even thank you. But focus on, did I give my best? Did I behave lazily? Did I act with some insensitivity, indifference and some procrastinating habit? No, I gave my best. Well, it's sad that I didn't get appreciation. Take a deep breath and move on. Then that is Kaushalam. If you and I develop that, then in our life there will be so much enthusiasm and energy in us, and this has a capacity lastly to transform the other person. The other person after a while says, amazing, I was very rude to him or her, but in spite of it all, he or she is so balanced. I should learn from him. I should learn from her. Slowly they change. So second chapter has several verses, maybe some 15 or 20, elaborating on the art of going about our work in daily life with a spiritual wisdom. Then we don't get bound. Getting bound means getting agitated, always being unhappy no matter what. That is bondage. There is no other bondage. Nobody is going to tie you to a pole with rope. Living in bondage means living in dissatisfaction, frustration, agitation, finding fault with others always. All that constitutes living in bondage. Living in freedom is, no matter what, you have a great supply of new energy as though. You may ask the Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya here stands for Atmajnana, by the way. Sankhya Yoga, Atmajnana Yoga. How do you say there is bhakti also? Yes, there are a couple of verses in the Sthita Prajna portion itself that you recited before I started speaking. Sri Krishna talks a lot about how human life goes for a toss when we become enslaved by sense attractions. Eat, drink, make merry. Pleasure. The pleasure drive is very strong. We not only want pleasure, but we want more of it, repetition of it and what not. And then he says, how you may rise above a certain slavery to pleasure. Pleasure has a place in life. No spirituality says don't eat jalebi. But spirituality says, suppose at midnight 2 a.m. you get up to go to bathroom, on the way back don't eat one jalebi and then go to bed. Everything has certain time, certain measure and the right way. Duty before pleasure. But if somebody is all into pleasure and postpones duty, then you are bound. So there is the shloka where Sri Krishna gives the gist of bhakti, and that is no other than Tani sarvani sanyamya, 61st verse. Tani sarvani sanyamya, have a certain control over your tongue. Tongue is both a jnanendriya and a karmendriya. Jnanendriya because tongue senses taste. Jnanendriya is that which gets knowledge. This is sour, this is sweet, this is salty. The tongue is a jnanendriya. Tongue is also a karmendriya. The tongue helps us talk, that is karma. It is the only organ which is a dual citizenship. It is both jnanendriya and karmendriya. And be a bit careful in your speaking, in your eating, etc. Be a little moderate. Sarvani sanyame, but Bhakti Yoga comes in the next expression. Yukta asita mat paraha. Mat paraha means all the time or as much as possible bring your mind back to, mat means me. Sri Krishna is talking, God. Be devoted to God. Do not forget God. Think of God. If some of you are more into Vedanta, think of the pure self, Atma. Bhakti and Jnana have certain different languages. Bhakti Yoga we have here. Then I am slowly coming to the Raja Yoga, Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. There is a whole science. It is said that great contributions to understanding our human mind are made in Raja Yoga more than anywhere else. All right, that is psychology and so on. The soul of Raja Yoga is mature conscious control. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Nirodha means don't allow your thoughts to run, berserk. Don't allow to think of anything anytime. So control your thoughts, not suppress. Nobody is talking about suppression. As I said a while ago, spirituality doesn't ask us not to eat jalebi, but eat jalebi, enjoy life, enjoy music, enjoy dance, enjoy good food, enjoy everything. But as the saying goes, a place for everything, but everything in its place. Everything in its place. So here, Raja Yoga or Hatha Yoga, I said, is essentially developing a certain control in ourselves over our mind and senses. And in the Sthita Prajna Lakshana, at several places, he talks about Indriya Sanyama. If you and I have a degree, we don't have to be like some Mahayogi, but a certain degree of control. At certain places, if not everywhere, we put our foot down and say, no, you are doing some serious work. Exactly that time you remember, there are 2 samosas in the kitchen. Why not I take a break, samosa break. In Jayanagar I saw there is a restaurant called Take a Break. Tab, take a break. So you are doing a serious work, maybe at the computer, you are in a creative mood, beautiful insights are coming, suddenly samosa appears before your mind's eyes. This is time to take a break. Suppose you yield to it. You must know, I will surely enjoy both the samosas, but after this article is over, after this writing is over. So a great author, Scott Peck, who wrote a book called The Road Less Traveled, many years ago it was a bestseller. He said a study of successful people around the world has shown that those people who can delay gratification, we are not talking of denying. You don't have to deny to yourself the ecstasy of samosa or jalebi. You just have to delay. Another 20 minutes, one more paragraph, my article on self-control is getting over. Oh, I should be careful. I have begun to make my own confessions. I sometimes, while writing an article on self-control, in between go and see whether some kodubale is available. So, kodubale, jalebi, samosa, all are welcome. But complete that article, another 20 minutes. Adra nantra, eradalla, innobbrige ittidare, adannu ನುಂಗ್ಬಿಡು. If they ask, where did my samosas go? I'll get new ones for you. But I was completing an article that I was writing. You may. Yukta asita matparaha, and then the example is given in Sthita Prajna Lakshanas. If our mind cannot bear the urges and impulses rising in the senses, then we are like a boat which has its sail tied up and which faces unfavorable winds. The boat had to go towards north, but because some unfavorable winds came up, the boat was taken away in the wrong direction, may meet with an accident also. As you have that shloka, Indriyanam hi charatam, 67. Indriyanam hi charatam, yanmanonu vidhiyate, tadasya harati prajnam. Our sense, prajna means the sense of what is good for me, what is bad for me. That prajna goes to winds. Vayur navam iva ambasi. On a river, ambas, vayuhu, unfavorable winds, navam, take the boat in a wrong direction. Let that not happen in your life. Deliberately I covered Karma Yoga first, then mentioned Yukta Asita Matparaha is Bhakti Yoga, Tasmatvam Indriya, all that Indriyani. So again and again he summarizes in this portion, Yasya Indriyani Nigrahitani Tasya Prajna Pratishtita, and such things, that is Raja Yoga, the spirit of Raja Yoga. What remains is Jnana Yoga. Is there any Atma Jnana in the second chapter, Sankhya Yoga, which all of us chanted? Sri Krishna begins with Jnana Yoga. 11th shloka of second chapter. In fact, Adi Shankara starts his commentary with the 11th shloka of second chapter. On the whole first chapter of 47 stanzas, Shankaracharya's Bhashya is silent. In the beginning, there is a beautiful portion, where he introduces what is Gita. That is called Upodghata or Avataranika. After that, he is silent. Gita, first chapter, 47 shlokas, Mum is the word. No word. First 10 shlokas of second chapter also, Bhagavat Pada, Bhashyakara, Sri Shankaracharya is silent. Why is he not saying anything? He says that is all story. 47 verses, story where Arjuna cries. What is first chapter called? Arjuna Vishada Yoga. One Swamiji of Vrindavan said, first chapter of Gita is Arjuna Vishada Yoga, and rest of the 17 chapters are called Sri Krishna's Prasada. One is Vishada. I can't fight. Na yotsya iti govindam uktva tushnim babuvaha. I will not fight, said the great warrior Arjuna, and tushnim means he became quiet. Visrajya sasharam chapam, along with arrows, he dropped his bow on the earth, on the ground. I can't do this. Arjuna's Vishada, and Lord Krishna gave him Prasada. In the next 17 chapters, Sri Krishna begins with the 11th shloka. What, Arjuna? You are crying over matters where there is no need to cry. Ashocya nanvashocastvam prajnavadanscha bhashase gatasun agatasunscha nanushocanti panditaha. You are crying over what should not be cried over at all, and you are talking like a very learned person. Actually, this is no sign of being learned. This is very stupid. And then he says, Arjuna, what are you talking? You say that people are dying there, people are dying here. Nobody is dying. That's how it begins. He says, Sri Krishna says, not these kings, not us, not anybody on either side is dying. He says, for example, Natvevaham, I am not going to die. Natu jatu nasam natvam neme janadipa, all these kings on either side. No one is going to die here. This death, this birth, etc. is a very superficial matter. Deeper there is the Atma. Everyone, Tom, Dick and Harry, Gita, Sita and Nita, all of them are that indestructible Atma. You may say, Swamiji, are you interpreting that, or has Sri Krishna himself said? Ayo, so many verses afterwards. Swords cannot cut this Atma. Fire cannot burn this Atma. Water cannot make this Atma wet. And wind cannot dry up this Atma. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, nachainam shok kledayanti apaha, nachoshayati marutaha. And he further summarizes it. Achedyoyam, adahyoyam, akledyaha, ashosyevacha, nitya sarva gatastanuhu, achaloyam sanatana. He is talking about something on the Himalayas? No. That is Atma Jnana. You and I are living a superficial life. He is not saying, therefore run away to Himalayas. No. Bhagavad Gita is the last scripture to ask anybody to run away to Himalayas. In fact, if that was the philosophy of Gita, Sri Krishna would have encouraged Arjuna to run. Sri Krishna holds him back. Don't run, do your work. All of us are encouraged to do our work with the right mindset, and then slowly, with a purer mind, with a purified mind, understand life in new light. Then what looked like utter philosophy, what looked like some hi-fi things, Long back once I spoke in North India in Hindi, and one Sardarji was sitting in front row. After the lecture, I asked him casually, "Kitna samajh mein aaya? Aapne samjha?" And Sardarji, very witty and mischievous fellow, "Swami ji, Maharaj, मैं इतना ही कह सकता हूँ, I can only tell you this." क्या बताइए? That was a नमस्ते नमस्ते हम नहीं समझते. नमस्ते नमस्ते हम नहीं समझते. I don't understand all this. But I tell you, that is how all of us began. Long ago, I also could not make head or tail of all this. But as you do satsang, therefore I compliment all of you to put together this kind of a program. You get certain sanskaras, certain impressions. No subject can be learnt overnight. Everything is Greek and Latin in the beginning. You and I hope nobody is an exception. You and I, at one age of ours, at one vayassu, we did not know what is the difference between a or kha. We had to learn and again, write, read. We did not know adding 2 and 3. Wasn't there a time in our life? We just saw there were so many little boys and girls, and we don't know what this school is about. Then starting with A, E, 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of you went for BSc, MSc, PhD, or BA, MA, PhD, postdoctoral in so many subjects. You people, some of you have grown up boys. They talk about some artificial intelligence, some embedded software, and some cloud computing. We get clouded. Our mind gets clouded hearing all that. But that girl, your daughter, who is now doing advanced study in some cloud computer or whatever it is, she also at one time was struggling. Teacher, is this correct way of writing a? And the teacher, yeah, this is right, but make it a little more round, Then she practiced. And now today, your daughter is studying all some advanced topics. Spirituality is like that. Why should it be different? So, let me, while concluding my talk, opening it for questions and answers, let me say, there are some 15 or more stanzas, say 11 to 25. 11 to 25 are a comprehensive treatment of the deeper self in you, which cannot be killed, which cannot be burnt. Najayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva na bhavita va na bhuyaha ajo nitya shashvato yam puranaha na hanyate hanyamane sharire. The deeper self in you, whether you like it or not, even if you have not read Bhagavad Gita, even if you never took interest in spirituality, even then, you are indestructible. But the problem is you may not know. Two people both have 10 crores in banks, in their bank account. One knows it. Suppose another doesn't know. Another doesn't know he has so much money for some brain damage or whatever. He will be so insecure. I don't know, let me see, I have only 5 rupees here. Where will my next meal come from? Then somebody says, hey, forgot? Come here, you have so much. So you are indestructible, but you may not know you are indestructible. Spirituality is not overnight, but slowly it prepares us to live our life with certain inner strength, and come what may, Maybe I will become popular or unpopular. Maybe the society will put us behind bars. Let it do so. Or the society will put us on a platform and honor us. Some Padma Shri or something is given to us. That will not matter much. Inside us, we have gained a certain spiritual maturity, and then these things become true, or when these things become understood, you will get that inner strength. Therefore, lastly, let me say, once more, Bhagavad Gita actually asks us to live with certain broader outlooks, with certain balance, doing things with interest and enthusiasm. One of the verses which can inspire all of us who have responsibilities, duties, things to do is, there is a shloka which says in the second chapter itself, the way immature people work with a lot of attachment to results, the wise person also should work with all enthusiasm. Sakta karmanya vidvanso yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidwan tata asaktaha chikirshur yo. What is it? Let me see, where is that karta? Sakta karmanya vidvamso, or maybe it's in third chapter. But that spirit is, okay. So just as people who are attached to what will I get, will I get a big house, will I get a big money, will I get this or that, they are going about their work with lot of eagerness, because they want to get something. Gita is saying, if you are spiritually mature, you will also have the same enthusiasm. Kuryad vidvan tata. Tata means same way. But the inside you are different. Kuryad vidvan tata asaktaha chikirshur loka sangraham, or something is there. So Gita says, whether you want a big house or not, whether you want fame or not, work enthusiastically. Take good care of your children. Children, respect it and learn things in early young age itself. Grow intelligently. Gita is about living intelligently. And right interpretation, proper guidance on these shlokas will beyond any doubt give you that message. Otherwise it is also mumbo jumbo. You read the shlokas in between, look out and again see how many shlokas are left, see the watch. I have decided to read 2 chapters today, but somehow no. So combine your recitation with here and there a little bit of learning what the teaching is, what the message is. Then chanting will brighten up your study. The study will bring new life to your chanting. Recitation and knowing the meanings can go hand in hand, and life then is so enjoyable. Life is so much a celebration. Even in failure, even as a couple of teardrops come down your cheek, you wipe it and then smile. It is possible, it's not poetry. Please don't think it is a play of words. It is very much possible. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We have a few minutes for Q&A. Any audience any kids also?
Children also may ask. You may ask a very silly question also. Did Krishna teach Gita to Arjuna, or Arjuna teach Gita to Krishna? That is also welcome. Don't hesitate. समाविष्टस्य केशव
स्थितधीः किं प्रभाषेत किमासीत व्रजेत किं श्रीभगवानुवाच
यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान् आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते दुःखेष्वनुद्विग्नमनाः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते यः सर्वत्रानभिस्नेहः तत्तत्प्राप्य शुभाशुभम् नाभिनन्दति न द्वेषति